1994 and 2016, the NFL went about its business without a team in LA. The Raiders moved back to Oakland and the Rams went to St. Louis. The Rams came back to LA in 2016. The Chargers left San Diego for LA in 2017. Since the Rams and Chargers have been in LA, the city has had two NFL teams in the same playoffs twice. The Rams and Chargers made the playoffs in 2018 and this year. New York and LA, the only cities with two NFL franchises, have never had their teams face each other in a Super Bowl. Even if the Rams and Chargers don't make it to the Super Bowl this year, the NFL is fully aware that the LA market is still strong. LA will never go 22 years again without an NFL team. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Somebody bring out the confetti, baby!
Starting Monday, January 6th, KBLA Talk 1580 has a new midday lineup.
I'm excited.
Are you ready for Tavis Smiley, Dr. Cornel West, Jesse Jackson Jr., D.L. Hughley, and E. Quarterly Corte back-to-back?
Oh, my God.
Are you really ready for all this smoke?
I'm ready, brother.
Yes, we still have Dominique DiPrima in the mornings and Zoe Williams in the evenings, but middays just got lit on KBLA Talk 1580.
We on fire.
All across America, people are talking about our new midday lineup. Starting Monday, January 6th, our KBLA 1580 app downloads are on fire because everybody's going to be tuning in.
Yes, I love you guys. You are the bomb.
Now would be a good time to hit up SMB at KBLA1580.com if you want folks to hear about your business or brand. That's SMB at KBLA1580.com. It's going up in 2025 on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's going up.
That's what I want.
All's my life I has to fight. All's my life hard times like yeah, bad trips like yeah. Nazareth, I'm f***ed up, homie, you f***ed up, but if God got us, then we gon' be alright.
We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Huh? We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright.
And when I wake up, I recognize you looking at me for the pay cut. Bahamas, I be looking at you from the face down. One Mac 11, even boom with the bass down. Skimming, and let me tell you about my life. Painkillers only put me in the twilight. But pretty Benjamin is the highlight. Now tell my mama I love her, but this what I like. Lord knows, 20 of them in my Chevy. Tell them all to come and get me, reaping everything I sow. So my karma come in heaven, no preliminary hearings on my record. I'm a gangster in silence for the record. Tell the world I know it's too late. Boys and girls, I think I've gone great. Trying to side my face this all day. Won't you please believe when I say, when you know we've been hurt, been down before. When our pride was low, looking at the world like where do we go? And we hate po-po, wanna kill us dead in the street for sure. I'm at the preacher's door, my knees getting weak and my gun might blow, but we gon' be alright.
KBLA Talk 1580. And typically at this time we focus on wealth building. It's Wealth Building Wednesday every week. So I want to put this call out to you. If you have a small business, Black owned, BIPOC owned, woman run owned, small business, locally sourced, socially innovative, we are looking for you. We want to put the spotlight on your business. We want to let the KBLA delegation know about the product or service that you're offering. And the Wealth Building Wednesday Spotlight is real. We like to have people from all different states, all different cities, towns, and profiles of business here. So if you're interested, you can reach out to me. It's DiPrimaRadio@gmail.com. DiPrimaRadio@gmail.com. You could also go into my DMs on all the social media platforms. We're at KBLA 1580, even on Blue Sky now. And I am at DiPrima Radio, DiPrima, and then radio. Tell me a little something about your business and how I can contact you, connect with you, and we'll get you on these airwaves absolutely free. Because we want to be part of building and what may end up being rebuilding businesses, just as we did with the emergency phase of the pandemic. We had to be part of the solution in terms of rebuilding our businesses, so many of them lost. And I hope that that won't be the case for this fire, or these fires, I should say, because there are at least 3 of them burning simultaneously at this time, but it could be, and we want to be part of that. We want to be part of creating generational wealth. And one of the most effective ways we create generational wealth and opportunity in our community is through small businesses. Small businesses are the greatest numbers of employers locally, and those are jobs that we tend to be able to get because a Black-owned business is more likely to be willing to hire a Black person. A community-based business is much more likely to hire people from that community. And it is, especially as we see what's happening in Washington, more important than ever to recycle Black dollars and local dollars, right? I've always been a big advocate of keeping our dollars in the community as long as we can, and going up to the level that some of our more astute fellow communities do, which is keeping those dollars turning over for days and weeks inside of their own community. With the African American dollars, it tends to be hours, but we are changing that. And one of the ways we change that is by networking with each other and being aware of what products, services, and businesses are available. There is a hotline, 1-800-UNITE-US. You can call Charles, 1-800-UNITE-US, and he'll tell you, if you're on the West Coast, anything you're trying to do, he'll give you a Black-owned business that does it. That is 1-800-UNITE-US. There are also a number of apps, the Black Wall Street and others, that will connect you with Black-owned businesses in various locations so that we can do our best to keep those dollars circulating here. And when I say especially right now, it's because of these attacks on DEI, attacks on affirmative action, and on Blackness itself. It's because of the reluctance that we're seeing, at least in theory. We haven't seen it play out yet because the new administration has not been sworn in yet. But the reluctance in the past, on the first term of the president-elect, to come to the aid of communities that didn't vote for him. And so hopefully Joe Biden will get on these fires and this catastrophic natural disaster that we're currently facing and send emergency aid or get that in motion before the new administration is sworn in and takes over with their litmus test regarding who voted for them, which is not meant to be how emergency aid works. It's supposed to be for everybody. We all pay in to the tax bucket that funds emergency aid. In fact, state of California and a number of other blue states pay more because we make more. We have a lot of people. We're very productive. And so we actually end up supporting much of the rest of the country. And so it doesn't make any sense for us to be last in line. And hopefully the Biden administration, certainly Vice President Kamala Harris, who has a residence in Los Angeles, will do everything possible to make sure that we are taken care of before they leave office. And the other piece is because if you look at what's happening with the billionaires, right, you have Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg and others anteing up $1 million apiece for this inauguration fund, which is now at $200 million plus that the president-elect has collected for an inauguration fund, which is like a slush fund. There's really not a lot of oversight with an inauguration fund. And now Amazon ponying up $40 million for Melania Trump for a documentary. I don't know how much you know about documentaries, but it's pretty rare for a person to get a $40 million advance on a documentary. Documentaries are not action blockbuster superhero movies. They don't typically pull in a lot of money. Even those that are wildly successful are not on the same monetary scale. So what is that $40 million really about? Probably it's a payoff to get back in the good graces of the president-elect and his family. Shoot, pay me $40 million for a documentary, you'll be in my good graces. Okay, let me not say that. Let us keep our principles above our greed. But also, it's not just that this $40 million is going to Melania for this documentary, air quotes. She's going to have an incredible amount of say, or has had an incredible amount of say, about what it will present, the narrative, her story, and how it is being told. So all of those things, what does that have to do with wealth building? Well, for me, it's another reminder of why I need to buy things locally and not give all my money to Mr. Bezos. And it's funny because I admit I'm an Amazon addict. I love ordering stuff. I had to make a rule, no more pushing buy now after midnight. If it's after 11 p.m., I have to wait till the next morning until the sale goes through. But when you look at it in the context of these billionaires coming together, coalescing around the MAGA agenda, kissing the ring, ponying up large amounts of money to get in the good graces of the president-elect to the tune of $200 million for the inauguration fund, $40 million just for this one documentary, which reminds us that it's not only the inauguration fund. There are monies flowing in to the president-elect household through all kinds of back channels. And so for me, that's a good incentive, inspiration, wake-up call to spend my money locally. Yes, Black-owned businesses, but any local business, right? Because when everything goes to Amazon, then the little brick and mortar stores that sell those products actually end up folding wherever you live locally. And then we become dependent on the Amazons of the world. And I know y'all like to shop on TikTok too, and Instagram and whatnot. But those are all owned and controlled by, well, TikTok by China, but probably looks like shortly will be owned by an American, North American billionaire. And the other ones that I mentioned are all owned by the billionaire, as one of Tavis's guests yesterday said, bro-oligarchy. It's the tech bros, billionaires, now as we don't have to call it a deep state because they ain't that deep, but it certainly is a shadow government, a shadow monarchy that is very influential in the sphere of the president-elect. So let's circle our wagons locally. Let's recycle our dollars to women-owned, to socially innovative, meaning businesses that give back to the community, to Black-owned, meaning those that are literally in our community and employing our friends and families. Let's do that, and I encourage you to let us help you by reaching out to KBLA 1580 on any of the socials, or reaching out to me, DiPrima Radio, especially on Instagram. Don't inbox me on Facebook because I never look at those, but I'm always on my DMs on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, and of course you can email me, diprimaradio@gmail.com. It's DIPRIMA radio. Hopefully you know how to spell that. diprimaradio@gmail.com, and let's get your business on in the years and months ahead. We'll continue to offer updates on what's going on here in Southern California, as we have 3 large fires burning in areas or adjacent to areas that are heavily populated. And we will continue to take your phone calls, updates at 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. We're here for you. We are KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Light a candle, pour some wine. Grab a roll, the soft kind for a little me time. Charmin Ultra Soft Smooth Tear. Wavy edges for my rear. So let the softness caress your soul. Just relax, you're on a roll. Let her rip. Charmin Ultra Soft Smooth Tear.
Charmin Ultra Soft Smooth Tear has the same softness you love, now with wavy edges that tear better than the leading one-ply brand. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppables, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
The holidays can be a time of increased stress for those struggling with opioid or stimulant addiction. They can also be a time for pause, reflection, opportunity, and new beginnings. This holiday season, choose treatment and recovery. Embrace the company of family and friends and create special moments. Find a proven opioid or stimulant addiction treatment provider near you at choosechangeca.org.
So my home is also my office, and before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up, then spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has a program specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to resolve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
And so grateful that this man has made time for us this morning. He's a retired fire chief who made history as the first African-American fire chief for the LA County Fire Department. In 2011, he was appointed and was started his career in the 1980s, rising through the ranks of firefighter all the way to Fire Chief Emeritus Darryl Osby. Good morning.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for checking in with us. It's a very stressful thing, even if you're far away, as I am. I'm in the Crenshaw district here from these three main fires that are burning at this time. But it's smoky. It's hard to breathe. You can smell it. And I wonder what you would tell folks, what you would advise folks, who are outside of those areas but feeling concerned, worried. What should we be doing? What should we not be doing?
Yeah, so for the smoky conditions, it's important that you just reduce or eliminate physical activity outside. And if you're employed, hopefully your employer has a process that for smoggy or wildfire days that you can reduce activity outside. If you're not employed, you're at home, then my recommendation is to stay inside with the windows shut. And then most schools, I would imagine if the kids are in school, that they would limit outdoor activity and keep the kids inside. So the best recommendation I could give right now as it relates to the people impacted by the smoke is to really limit outside activity. If for some reason you have shortness of breath or difficulty breathing, I would say, go to an urgent care center or contact your doctor for assistance.
That's a great point. Many schools are closed this morning, so you're going to want to check before you head out to school if you haven't done so yet, and make sure that school is actually in session. I think about the firefighters in these conditions. is it advised in these types of emergencies that we stay off the roads as much as possible? Like, how do we make the firefighters' jobs easier?
Yeah, so as it relates to the firefighters, and my hat's off to them as it relates to their commitment, and probably most of the firefighters that got there yesterday were up all night, fighting the fires and evacuating the people. So as it relates to our public, I mean, if you don't need to be away from home, then stay home. It's important to, just keep our streets and our freeways clear. It's also important to look at the news and learn from this incident or the incidents that are occurring in Los Angeles County right now, because this could happen to you. I mean, just because we don't live by wildfire areas, it could be an earthquake, it could be a landslide, it could be some type of chemical incident or commercial fire. So this is a reminder to all citizens that we're all first responders, and we need to be prepared in advance of any type that could happen in our community.
Yeah, and that preparation means having a go bag, right, ready to leave and evacuate if need be. What other things should we be doing to be prepared?
I think that as it relates to preparation, it all starts at home. So if you take medications, ensure that you have proper, supplies of medication if you can't get to the pharmacy. I was also impacted by a smaller fire last night. My wife and I, we didn't have power for 10 hours.
Wow.
And so it's important to have lights, to have food, to have water, to have clothing, to have all those things in advance of an incident. The worst thing that you would ever want to do is have an incident and be unprepared. I mean, probably the best analogy I can give you is in 2005, I went to Hurricane Katrina, and that was the best example of a community not being prepared in advance of an incident. And they knew the hurricane was coming, but they weren't prepared. And so we want to use these types of incidents, even though they might not be impacting you, to question, how am I prepared in my household, and what can I do to be, better prepared if something happens in my community?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Sometimes even when we're hearing an evacuation order or we're being on alert for a possible evacuation, there's a denial that comes over. It's like, well, I don't have to leave. I don't want to leave. This doesn't mean me. And that's what gets people endangered, right?
Absolutely. And these are really low-frequency, high-risk type incidents. And what I mean by that is they don't happen often. But when they do happen, it's important to listen to instructions, because if you don't, you can be seriously injured or die. And so it's important to connect with the media. The fire department tries to connect with the media. That's why I'm calling you today, to make sure that if you don't have access to your television or, internet, that you can turn on your radio and listen to press conferences or listen to the media advice as far as evacuating from your communities. And sometimes, particularly for people that live in flood-prone areas or fire-prone areas or landslides, and you should know where you live, you shouldn't really wait for the fire department or police department or law enforcement to say evacuate. It's always okay to have a plan and evacuate early.
Yeah.
Because you saw what happened when everyone tried to evacuate at the same time. Sunset was clogged up. And it's normally clogged up on a normal day when people are going to school and going to work. So you can imagine how it would look when 30,000 people are trying to leave the community at the same time.
Yeah, it was actually, Chief Osby, I found it really terrifying. I saw in some part of Palisades where they were actually bulldozing cars to clear the road because the people had left the cars and run away from the fire. They didn't want to stay in the traffic, or they had been told to get out of the cars and run to safety. And then they had to bulldoze those cars to clear the road. Those are scenes that are very terrifying for those of us who, are not professional firefighters. It's just super scary.
Yeah, and so those are good examples for us to all learn by. And I recognize that there are going to be some people that are going to complain about the evacuation process. They weren't notified early enough. But I think that you should have a personal commitment and a personal responsibility for your safety. And as a fire chief, and I don't want to come across as being callous, but to support my peers, if somebody got out and they can complain about it, then that meant that we were successful with the evacuation, because our number one priority when we have these types of incidents is, number one, to protect lives. The number two is protect properties. The number three is to put the fire out and protect the environment. So at least I know that when I saw the fire start yesterday in in Pacific Palisades, then last night I had a power outage, so I couldn't look at the news, but I heard there was a fire in Sylmar and Altadena. I'm just glad that no one got hurt or killed.
Yeah.
Because that's always my fear, that a citizen or a firefighter will get killed in these types of incidents.
Chief Osby, how would you compare this to other fires? Well, not just this, because there's three, but also the conditions. I mean, just seeing those heavy winds and how quickly the fires appear to be moving, how would you compare that to other fires you've seen?
These type of anomalies happen in our area about every 10 to 15 years as it relates to wide wind type incidents. I mean, for people that live in the LA City or the Flatlands, you can see that it's windy here. Typically, when you hear a red flag, it's in the Malibus or Santa Clarita, the mountains, and it doesn't get windy here. But now you can see it's windy here and where we live. If you live in Los Angeles, proper. So, the last time it happened was 2011, then it happened in 1991. So the firefighters in the fire department, we keep fire history maps that go back 100 years. So we have very close relationships with the Weather Network. We keep a lot of history and incidents that occur. Generally, when they occur repeatedly over and over again in the same areas. So this is an anomaly, but it's like I said, it's another lesson learned for our citizens, that when these types of things happen, and the media told us it was going to happen, that we need to be prepared in advance.
Should we be concerned? I mean, if you're in the city, city center, or in Santa Monica, or in other parts of Pasadena that haven't been evacuated, what's the likelihood that these fires jump and end up in the main, the flatlands of the cities?
The good thing about this wind event, based on the weather reports that I've seen and taken consideration, we had a power outage at my house for 10 hours, so I'm not up in the news. You probably know more about the news right now than I do, but my understanding is the wind event's supposed to die down tonight. So that's a good thing, because sometimes in the past the wind's blown for 5 days to a week. So The good thing is the winds will die down tonight. So we have, at least another good 10 to 12 hours of a wind event that we should be concerned about, with ember cast that can be 1 to 2 miles ahead of the main fire front to start other things on fire. So that's concerning. But for all citizens, they should always be prepared. I can give an example. I don't recall the exact year, but it was in the 80s, where we had a fire in Irwindale, which is a regular community. We had a wind event, a fire that occurred in a paper recycling business. The wind was blowing paper brands into the communities, and I think we lost anywhere between 20 and 30 homes.
Wow.
So these types of things can occur anywhere, so we always need to be prepared.
Chief Osby, thank you so much for checking in with us this morning. I really appreciate the conversation.
Okay, and stay safe, and thank you for what you do.
Thank you so much. Retired Fire Chief Osby joining us this morning on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. San Francisco reports its lowest crime rate in over 2 decades. Outgoing Mayor London Breed says property crime is down 31% and violent crime is down 14% from last year. The FBI uncovered more alleged criminal conduct by New York City Mayor Eric Adams, but details are scarce. Adams, who pleaded not guilty to corruption charges, insists he's done nothing wrong. His attorney called the new allegations amateur hour. Memphis, Tennessee city leaders, community members, and Tyree Nichols' family marked the 2nd anniversary of his death with a march and candlelight vigil. An investigation found Memphis police often use excessive force and discriminated against black people. And Meghan Markle announced on Instagram that her dog, Guy the Beagle, has passed away. She adopted him from Canada in 2015 and thanked him for years of unconditional love. I'm Bree Wood on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
Del Taco's new Chipotle Chicken Burrito and Bean Rice and Cheese Burrito, packed with flavor, made with fresh ingredients, and found on Del's Real Deals menu. You heard that right. These burritos on a value meal with everything under $3. Look at Del Taco, hooking us up.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
There was a time Los Angeles did not have an NFL franchise. Now the city has 2 teams in the NFL playoffs. For 22 years, between 1994 and 2016, the NFL went about its business without a team in LA. The Raiders moved back to Oakland and the Rams went to St. Louis. The Rams came back to LA in 2016. The Chargers left San Diego for LA in 2017. Since the Rams and Chargers have been in LA, the city has had 2 NFL teams in the same playoffs twice. The Rams and Chargers made the playoffs in 2018 and this year. New York and LA, the only cities with 2 NFL franchises, have never had their teams face each other in a Super Bowl. Even if the Rams and Chargers don't make it to the Super Bowl this year, the NFL is fully aware that the LA market is still strong. LA will never go 22 years again without an NFL team. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Somebody's been praying for me.
Thanks to the generous support of the KBLA Talk 1580 delegation, we were able to donate 545 pounds of coats and blankets to the LA Mission this winter season.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
The LA Mission expressed its deep gratitude for our gift all over social media, but we wish to thank them and all the other service providers who look out daily for the less fortunate in our community, finding our happy by being helpful.
Hallelujah.
We're KBLA Talk 1580, where we do more than just talk.
Somebody's been praying for me.
Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online.
Uh-huh.
I read that 3 out of 4 adults in the United States have a high risk factor for severe COVID-19. And black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. The Live Your Life organization mentors young women, helping them break negative mindsets and see beyond their surroundings. Through career exposure and hands-on training, they're encouraged to think big, stay focused, and make positive choices. Founded by Nikisha Mama Boo Smith, who transformed her life to become a community leader. Live Your Life is changing lives, but they need your help. They're raising funds to keep their new building open and expand their programs. Your donations will support food, clothes, hygiene products, and holiday giveaways. Visit liveyourlife32.com. That's LIVEYOLIFE32.com to help today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this? We didn't think so. You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive, KBLA Talk 1580.
Very thankful to retired Fire Chief Darryl Osby for calling in and giving us some updates. I hope that, answers some of your questions. Darryl Osby certainly answered some of mine as far as staying indoors if you can. If you can work from home, this is a great time to do it. If you can stay off the roads, postpone that trip or whatever you have going on, this is a great time to do that. Keeping roads clear, minimizing your exposure to smoke. If you have any air filters, some of us went out and got those during the COVID emergency phase. It's a good thing to put those on so that you can filter the air, because as you can see, if you're in LA, you can smell the smoke. If you're in the area even pretty far away from those three major burns, you can smell it, you can see it, eyes watering. And I remember during the big Oakland wildfires, my mom at that time was in the nursing home, and they actually ended up putting her on oxygen, because for those who are medically fragile, the air quality can be problematic. Checking in with us right now, the LA City Council President. He's the representative for the 8th District on the Los Angeles City Council. Has 2 decades of community activism, and at this moment is actually the acting mayor until our mayor, Karen Bass, returns later this morning. Council member and Council President Marqueece Harris-Dawson, good morning.
Good morning, Dominique DiPrima, and good morning to the KBLA family.
Well, first of all, you, your family, everybody good?
Knock on wood, everybody in my immediate family is good. Our staff and our mighty Los Angeles Fire Department has got well in excess of 1,000 people on the street. We've only had 1 serious injury. No fatalities that we know of so far. It's been an absolute miracle, given the devastation and the cataclysmic nature of what we're facing today.
It's true, because looking at the images on television and on social media, and then smelling the smoke pretty much wherever you are, it is pretty scary. And so what you're saying, no injuries, no deaths so far, and even among our firefighters.
Yeah, even among our firefighters, we've had very limited, less than a half dozen serious injuries. No fatalities so far that we know of. And again, it's a miracle. They've been able to stay out of harm's way, and folks have followed the evacuation orders as they've been given, and been able to stay safe so far.
Where should we be looking to track, the evacuations, the fires that are cropping up and getting squashed? Where should we be turning for information? Obviously, besides KBLA, online. Besides KBLA,
the most up-to-date information is going to come on LAFD.org. So that stands for Los Angeles Fire Department.org, LAFD.org. There's another site that covers a broader space called notify.la. So just the word notify.la.
Okay, and what is the advice that we're being given as residents of the 8th and the 10th? Sort of the Black LA, Central LA, and South Central Los Angeles, which are obviously not directly impacted by these burns, but certainly we are paying attention.
The impact, we should be paying attention, and I would not say we are not directly impacted, but we're indirectly impacted in a few ways. One is we've got to look out for each other, because there are less resources available. So a lot of seniors live in the 8th District. We rely on the paramedics a lot. There are not as many paramedics available. So neighbors, we need you to look in on your neighbors. If you've got family, put in a call to them. Make sure they're okay. Folks have been breathing smoke all night long. If they've got a respiratory problem, they may have come up on complications, and they might need you to come for them. Visibility is low on the roads, and we've got a lot of traffic lights out, a prone time for accidents. If you can stay off the roads, please do it. And if you can combine with your neighbors and your friends and say, let's all get in the car and run to Target together, as opposed to going separately, that helps us all.
And what about, you mentioned the seniors, obviously other than staying inside, is there anything else we should be doing to care for folks who, as you say, have been breathing that smoke all night and will be breathing it for the days to come?
Yeah, I think, folks, if you know that's someone's situation, everybody has a particular diagnosis, reach out to your doctor, go online to figure out what the particular recommendation is for a patient in this case, because everybody's situation is slightly different. And so we don't want to just offhand recommend things, but it's something to pay attention to. I was in my house in South LA and I could hardly breathe and my eyes were watering.
Yeah.
And I live about as far away from fires as you can get.
Yeah. What about schools? Do we have any school closures in your areas? Well, I know everything's your area right now because you're the council president and the acting mayor, but what do we know about school closures and how would we be tracking that?
School closures will be available on notify.la and on lafc.org. So far, LAUSD has only closed about a dozen schools, and like you say, none of them are sort of south of the 10 freeway. But I would stay tuned. Given the visibility on the roads, I don't know that the buses are going to be able to make it to school, so we may see a full closure of LAUSD later today.
And I know you're really busy right now, Council President Harris-Dawson. Anything else you want us to know, do or not do while we have you?
Well, look, if you feel like you need to leave your house and go to a shelter or go to another location out of the area, I suggest you do it. Don't wait for an evacuation order. If fire gets anywhere near us, obviously we have the Inglewood oil field in South LA. There was a small fire there that got put out yesterday, thankfully. But we don't want to take any chances. These embers are so buoyant. They can fly a mile in these winds and drop and start a new fire in a totally separate place. So everybody's just got to be on alert. We need you to be looking out for fire, and we need you to look out for each other. And again, be mindful of our professionals trying to get around the city, trying to get through the city. And again, stay off the roads where you can, when you can.
And if your power is down, just hold tight?
If your power is down, hold tight. Make sure you call DWP. Don't assume that they know. Obviously, the phones will be jammed, but we need to log those outages as much as possible. And again, take a look at your wires and make sure none of your wires have come down or a tree hasn't fallen onto wires that could start a fire.
Okay, well, Council President Marqueece Harris-Dawson, thank you so much for checking in with KBLA this morning. Stay safe.
Thank you so much.
We are taking your phone calls, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. We are keeping the conversation going. We are keeping each other safe. We are KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Ray Richardson, your sports connection here at KBLA Talk 1580. Join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough every Saturday night at 7 for Out of Bounds, the show that brings some flavor to the world of sports for 60 minutes. We take you beyond the scores and press conferences. We give you our point of view, the way black folks see what's going down. You can join the conversation and give us your analysis at 1-800-920-1580. Out of Bounds every Saturday night at 7 on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
You like your style, bro.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Here they come, y'all. Here they come. Here they come, y'all. Here they come. Get out the way. Move. First things first with Dominique DiPrima at 6 a.m. Tavis Smiley at 9 a.m. Truth Time with Dr. Cornell West and Nina Turner at 12 noon. Here they come, y'all. Here they come. Here they come, y'all. Here they come. Get out the way. Get out the way. Get out the way. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show at 1 p.m. The D.L. Hughley Afternoon Show at 2 p.m. A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nee Quarterly Quartet at 4 p.m. Here they come, y'all. Here they come. Here they come, y'all. Here they come. Get out the way. Get out the way. Get out the way. Tune in weekdays from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. for the talk of the town. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about. Here they come, y'all. Here they come.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
All right, so we're keeping our conversation going. Poetess will be in. We're going to talk about podcasting. It may seem crazy for a New Year's deal, but it seems like everybody has or wants a podcast. And maybe you want to do a podcast right now, documenting your experience, but we're going to tell you the wheres and the whens and the hows of all that. In the meantime, we are continuing to track what's going on with these three major fires and the responses. And I got to say, I'm really impressed, as Council President Marqueece Harris-Dawson said on yesterday. We know that a fire broke out, the King Fire, right there near the Inglewood oil field at La Cienega in Fairfax, and they had it out quickly. There are a number of fires that have broken out closer within the flats, or sort of the main populated area of central Los Angeles, and they have been extinguished very quickly. Same with the Hollywood Hills fire. So grateful for the work of our firefighters and emergency responders. And it's worth remembering that when other massive emergencies break out in different states and even different countries, it is our firefighters that are sent by the city to go and assist people in those other areas because of their expertise, because of the knowledge that they have. And so even though this is a terrible situation, it is still in many ways a best case scenario. As the council member pointed out, we've had no deaths, we've had no major injuries, despite the fact that we have close to 100-mile-an-hour winds, and these Santa Ana winds are projected to go. The worst of it is projected to die down today, but we could see wind events going all the way through Friday. And so under these tough conditions, our firefighters are actually extinguishing a number of smaller blazes that with the winds could become hugely problematic. Let's go to Keys calling us from LA. Good morning.
Good morning, Dominique. How are you?
I'm blessed. How are you doing?
That's awesome. I'm blessed as well. So I got a call to go in last night to Redwood Circle community that I work at, homeowners association right off the 405 in Sunset. And yeah, it was really quite scary going to 405 and seeing the actual fire right kind of behind the Getty Museum.
So you actually drove into the fire sort of center, or one of the fire centers last night for work? Is that what it was?
That is correct, yes. So
because Sunset is kind of like the main, I mean, that road, from what I saw in news reports, was very congested and active in the firefight.
Yes, throughout the morning. So where our gate sits is private community, about 86 residents. And from where we could see, we sit right on Sunset. And, yeah, they had 2 highway patrol cars stationed, east and west on both exit ramps. But traffic pretty much was flowing, all through the morning. I got called in around 9 p.m., so I showed up around 9. And I think about maybe 15 that we knew of residents left, and they called all through the night and the morning to see if there were any updates. But we did a patrol through the community, and I got all the way up to the back gate of the Getty Museum, and you can still see the flames, from the back. But
you're talking about the Getty Villa right there on the PCH, not the Getty, not the Getty over by Sherman Oaks, but the one.
Correct. Well, you can see it. Yeah. The one on PCH. Yeah, you can see it. Yeah, from the backdrop, because it's really hilly. But the winds were ridiculous. We had 2 cameras that kind of like went backwards, and I had to physically go and turn those cameras right side. But I mean, we didn't get a lot of smoke in that particular area. Everything seems to go abroad. So and I'll go back tonight. I just checked in. The community is safe. There's no evacuation order for Brentwood Circle at this time, but we know that there was some, talk about Brentwood, and that is on that PCA, or that is on that Sunset line.
Yeah. What about the Getty Villa? Were you able to see, or I know that it was burning, but I don't know the extent of the damage or if that was extinguished.
Yeah, I don't think anything caught on that end, because there's a gate that goes into a uncharted area. That's a lot of canyon that's back there. So we do get a lot of wildlife that may come up from that particular parcel that's behind the museum there. But nothing that close. But the homes that are on the hills that can see over, I can imagine how scary it was. And there's some relatively expensive homes. One of them up there is in like the 59 millions or more.
Wow. I mean, in these times, Keys, I'm going to be honest with you. I think about human beings more than, the size of their house or their ethnic background or anything like that. These are actual humans with families and pets, and, just never want to see anyone lose everything they have in a fire or their lives endangered in a fire. So I appreciate you giving us your eyes and ears on the ground. Anything else you would want to add?
I'll add prayers out to all the families that are affected by the fire, and that's a lot of us. It really hit close because my wife's boss home is in Palisades, not too far from Palisades High School. So she won't know the outcome until she goes in the morning. But my prayers and thoughts go out to all the families and firefighters out there, fighting this fire. And much respect.
Yep, I think that it says that the fire now has reached the playing fields of Palisades High School. And I don't know the extent of the damage there, but that's real scary. And I think that I wish that we would be kind. I know that's a big ask, but especially on social media, I see finger pointing, accusations, just the politicization of this catastrophic natural disaster. People, criticizing the mayor. Rick Caruso was on TV criticizing the mayor. I understand he was under stress because apparently his daughter's house burned, and he's concerned about his son, and my heart goes out to the family for that. But none of us control the wind. We don't control the rain, and all of us are doing the best that we can. I've seen critics of her on the left saying, well, she was talking about cutting fire budgets. Well, all of the budgets are being cut because we are in a deficit. We are in a budget crunch. Now, we can argue about which line items, and I'm happy to do so. But to me, in the middle of a crisis, this is not the time to be pointing fingers. The mayor was out of the country at a presidential inauguration. That's not a frivolous thing. We actually do business with Ghana. We have international relations. We are a huge city. That's the 5th largest economy, or 4th, depending on who you ask, in the world. We have trade with different countries and nations and relations and programs. So I think that those critiques are unfounded and unfair, and that pointing the fingers at other political parties, I saw them saying, oh, they're burning down because they're woke, or because they're Sodom and Gomorrah, or this and that. Natural disasters, fires, hurricanes, earthquakes, they happen in red states and blue states. They happen to gay people and straight people. They happen to conservatives and radicals. That is just the way of the world. It's Mother Nature. It's not maybe added to by the climate emergency, and I would say probably yes, but I just want us to be kind and
well,
neighborly.
Dominique, that is awesome, and that's why we love you, and that's why you do what you do, and the best at what you do. So I appreciate and commend everything that you're doing, and yes, I sentiment those same words that you had, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, Keys. I appreciate the phone call. Keys called me at 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. As of right now, the 3 main fires are Pacific Palisades, Altadena, Pasadena, and Sylmar. And as I stated earlier in the show, I just discovered an app which is very useful. Discovered it last night, thanks to my friend Pharaoh. It's called Watch Duty. It's free. It's on the App Store, and it's run by a nonprofit, so they're not trying to weasel you out of money or information. But they have the fires mapped out exactly where they're burning. They also have shelters and pet shelters indicated here if you need help, and they give you notifications as far as evacuation orders and when evacuation orders are lifted. And it's a pretty big map. It's also pinchable. You can scroll, you can pinch in or out to see a particular area. And it's very, very useful. So I would, if you're planning where you're going to drive or not drive, or if you're worrying about whether your area is evacuated, I would get that one, Watch Duty. And then, of course, our council president, acting mayor, just off the phone with us this morning. He's suggesting notify.la, where we can find out about evacuations and school closures. You could also go to lausd.org, but notify.la, and then LAFD.org, LAFD.org. That's LA Fire Department website, where you can get updates on what is burning, what's not burning, what's safe, what's not safe, and what is open and what is not open. But as the retired Fire Chief Osby said, the best thing we can do if we don't have to be out and about is stay inside with the windows closed. News, traffic, and sports, then more on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.